on January 19th, 2015. Today is Martin Luther MLK Day, and it's a time that we think about so many speeches that he gave kind of ring true for a variety of reasons. It's any time that you are repression, and countries around the world are going through their phases. I think I talked last year about the Arab Spring and people standing up for their rights and freedoms. Sometimes they don't get to. I think this stuff is happening in Ukraine popped up in the news again, and when you try to come in and force your opinions and rules and regulations and stuff on people, they're going to resist. It's just nature. It's unfortunate that this country took so long. The Civil War, 100 years after we established ourselves as a country, we went to Civil War. Actually, less than 100 years. In the 1860s, and fought to kind of hold. It was more not necessarily on the rights of the black peoples, but just this country, just to hold it together when you get a difference of opinions. Separation is great in those days, and to finally make it through that. But then 100 years later, and when you talk about the 60s, and this is just this last century, at the African Americans in this country finally stood up and said we had enough. The country was still kind of separated. You travel north. When I moved up north, it's a different world, different climate, different way they look at things. I've been raised in the South, and I could see that. I could see it was wrong when I lived there in the 60s and 70s. That it finally came to a point that they stood up and wanted to be recognized. I think as far as being gay, same thing happened, that we were oppressed and harassed and kind of beaten down, and when we finally stood up and made a difference, we spoke up as unity, as a group, as a human being, and wanted those rights and those liberties and those freedoms to be ourselves. So a lot of things ring true on a day like today. So you think about it. So I just wanted to touch base with that. One of the songs from the 60s, I got to see Jefferson Starship, and their roots go back. They span the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Lots of good music. But one of the original, they did do a couple of their earlier Jefferson Airplane songs, and this one is definitely from the 60s. I think it's in like 1967. Off the Smothers Brothers. We do remember the Smothers Brothers. But Jefferson Airplane, White Rabbit. Martin Luther King Day, January 19th, 2015.